Here are some facts you probably didn't know about Groundhog Day and Puxatawny Phil, weather prognosticator extraordinaire. Puxatawny Phil has seen his shadow 107 times. He has not seen it 21 times. And there are 9 years unaccounted for. The National Climatic Data Center reportedly stated that Phil's predictions have been correct 39% of the time, but it's not Puxatawny Phil's fault. Sometimes the club's president misinterpreted what Phil said. After all, Phil is correct 100% of the time. There's a legend that during Prohibition, Phil threatened to impose 60 weeks of winter on the community if he wasn't allowed to drink. In the years following the release of Groundhog Day, a 1993 film starring Bill Murray, crowds numbering as high as 30,000 have visited Gobbler's Knob, a tiny hill in Puxatawny where the ceremony actually takes place. Though groundhogs typically live only 6 to 8 years, Groundhog Day lore suggests that Phil drinks a magic elixir every summer, which gives him 7 more years of life. February 2nd, 1840, was the first mention of Groundhog Day in America. It was an entry in the diary of James L. Morris of Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Groundhogs go into hibernation in the early fall. The males emerge from their burrows in February not to predict the weather, but to look for a mate, and then they return to the burrows again. In March, they come out of hibernation. Phil has a wife. She lives in the town library with her husband. Phil's original name was Bray Groundhog, but that name didn't catch on. Instead, he was named after King Philip. Phil speaks Groundhogese. He uses it to share his shadow's finding to the inner circle president, who then announces it to the world. As for me, though, I'm hoping on February 2nd that Phil does not see his shadow. I'm not much in favor of more winter. Puxatawny Phil is not the only weather prognosticator. Staten Island Chuck is the official weather forecasting woodchuck for New York City. Sometimes their ceremonies, though, don't go as planned. In 2009, Chuck bit Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and one year, Chuck was dropped by Mayor Bill de Blasio. In Washington, D.C., he's called Potomac Phil. In addition to weather predicting, if he sees his shadow, it means 6 more months of political gridlock. General Beauregard Lee of Lilburn, Georgia, is known to have the most accurate prediction at 94%. Buckeye Chuck was made one of Ohio's official state groundhogs in 1979, but is not very accurate. Since 2006, he's only been correct twice. Sir Walter Wally makes his predictions at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, and he's only been around since 1998. But Sir Walter Wally is a stage name. His real name is Toby. North Carolina has an increasing groundhog problem, so Groundhog Day was used to educate people about this problem. In Cleveland, Ohio, he's called Thistle the Whistle Pig. Woodstock Willie is from Woodstock, Illinois. His history began in 1993 as a result of the movie Groundhog Day, where the movie was actually filmed. And then there's Foo the Hedgehog from Portland, Oregon.